by way of background, before Karuna starts, Lord Brahma is the secondary creator of this world. He creates this material world, has given the power by Lord Krishna. So he received incredible transcendental knowledge after some tapasya. And he recited this Brahma Samhita, which are an extraordinary set of prayers. And today, very kindly, Karuna Bhandar is going to take us through these prayers so we can learn them and try to pronounce them as properly as we can. So take it away, Karuna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
So the first verse in the Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. The first word, Ishvara, Ishvara, Parama, Parama, Krishna, Krishna, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Second line, Sach. So the C is Cha. Sach. Then Chid. Sach, Chid, Ananda. Ananda. Vigraha. Sachid Ananda Vigraha. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. Nadir, Nadir, Adir, Adir, Govinda, Govinda, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. Anadir Adir Govinda. Sarva, Sarva, Karana, Karana, Karanam. Sarva, Karana, Karanam. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Yes, anyone would like to try?
Yeah. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam.
Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam.
Thank you, Mataji.
Mataji, can I try?
Yes, please.
Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam.
Beautiful,
Haribol Mataji.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam.
Thank you, Chitra. Anyone else would like to recite?
Sitaram, would you like to? Oh, and Lena, and maybe Surya, Aruna. It doesn't matter if with the pronunciation.
I'll have a go.
Okay, good, 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 good.
Ishvara Parama Krishnam Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam.
Excellent.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadira Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Haribol.
Lena or Shyam Malini.
Okay, I'll have a go.
Good,
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you, Lena.
Okay. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Beautiful, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, I'll have a go. Thank you. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam.
Thank you, Mataji. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. Only Aruna, would you like to have a go?
No, I'm
You got to
resting.
pass.
Yeah, pass. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so shall we read the meaning?
Absolutely. Yes. This is such an important verse.
Okay. So Ishvara, the controller, Parama, supreme, Krishna, Lord Krishna, Sat, comprising eternal existence, Chit, absolute knowledge, Ananda, an absolute bliss, Vigraha, whose form, Anadi, without beginning, Adi, the origin, Govinda, Lord Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. Translation: Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the Supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. So shall we read the purport, Prabhu? Or?
Yes, I think so, because this was often, people say that, Vishnu is the original and Krishna came from Vishnu. So this verse indicates otherwise. And this verse is written by or spoken by Lord Brahma, who is the topmost being in our universe. So it's got a lot of authority and weight. So he's very clearly stating that Krishna is known as Govinda. Govindam Adi Purush is the original Supreme Lord. And Sarva Karana Karanam, he's saying cause of all causes. So this is a verse which so establishes the supreme position of Krishna. Of course, there's really no difference between Krishna and Vishnu, but still, in order to understand the spiritual reality, it's good to know this. It's good to know this. So, okay. So yes, Karuna, please go for it.
So the purport has been written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, isn't it?
Bhaktisiddhanta is
Bhaktisiddhanta.
Yeah.
Because in the forward, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur mentioned that the book has been written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur and then
Does he?
translated. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because the words that he uses in these purports are, they're so mind-boggling.
Yeah, the English also is quite difficult.
Yeah.
Can you see the screen? I just put
Yes.
the forward.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can see
So
the screen.
it's somewhere here.
Yeah, inebriating felicity. What does that mean?
So here it is. The publisher is carried away to the realm of gratitude when his stores of publication are scrutinized. Thakur Bhaktivinoda has given an elucidatory purport of the conception of the most sublime fountainhead of all entities in Bengali. And one of his devout followers has rendered that into English for provocatory purpose. So,
okay.
has he written all the purport?
Yeah, this is, as far as I remember, Bhaktisiddhanta's the one who's written the purports, but maybe he's used the Bhaktivinoda Thakur's, Bengali sort of texts to do that. Yeah.
And it is said that the purports and translation are traced to the backgrounds on the writings of Srila Jiva Goswami, a contemporary follower of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya.
Right. Nice. Very good.
And then one thing worth mentioning also, the Brahma Samhita is the 5th chapter of the hymns of Brahma, which were recorded in 100 chapters. The Supreme Lord Chaitanya picked up this chapter from the temple of Adi Keshav in Tiruvattar, a village lying under the government of Travancore, for the assurance of all God loving, and especially Krishna loving people in this condition jurisdiction. This booklet can easily be compared with another book which passes by the name of Srimad Bhagavatam. Though it has got a reference in the pantheon of Puranas, the Bhagavatam corroborates the same idea of this Pancharatra.
Good.
Nice.
Very good. And the other 100 chapters have been lost, unfortunately. But Mahaprabhu, he was ecstatic when he came across this 5th chapter. And I believe he actually copied it down as soon as he got it, as soon as he saw it. I might be wrong on that. Such an important scripture.
Yes. So this is the purport. I go back to the purport. Krishna is the exalted supreme entity, having his eternal name, eternal form, and eternal attribution and eternal pastimes. The very name Krishna implies his love-attracting designation, expressing by his eternal nomenclature the acme of entity. His eternal beautiful heavenly blue-tinged body, glowing with the intensity of ever existing knowledge, has a flute in both his hands. As his inconceivable spiritual energy is all extending, still he maintains his all charming medium size by his qualifying spiritual instrumentals. His all accommodating supreme subjectivity is nicely manifested in his eternal form. The concentrated all-time presence, uncovered knowledge, and inebriating felicity have their beauty in him. The mundane manifested portion of his own self is known as all-pervading Paramatma, Ishwar, Supreme Lord, or Vishnu, all-fostering. Hence, it is evident that Krishna is the sole supreme Godhead. His unrivaled and unique spiritual body of super excellent charm is eternally unveiled with innumerable spiritual instrumentals, senses, and unreckonable attributes, keeping their signifying location properly, adjusting at the same time by his unconceivable conciliative powers. This beautiful spiritual figure is identical with Krishna, and the spiritual entirety of Krishna is identical with his own figure. The very intensely blended entirety of eternal presence of felicitous cognition is the charming targeted holding or transcendental icon. It follows that the conception of indistinguishable formless magnitude, Brahman, which is an indolent lux presentment of cognitive bliss, is merely a penumbra of intensely blended glow of the three concomitants, the blissful, the substantive, and the cognitive. This transcendental manifestive icon Krishna in his original face is primordial background of magnitudinal infinite Brahman and of the all-pervasive oversoul. Krishna has truly vision in his variegated pastimes, such as owner of transcendental cows, chief of cowherds, consort of milkmaids, ruler of the terrestrial abode Gokul, and object of worship by the transcendental residents of Goloka beauties is Govinda. He is the root cause of all causes, who are the predominating and predominated agents of the universe. The glance of his projected fractional portion in the sacred originating water is the personal oversoul or Paramatma, gives rise to a secondary potency nature who creates this mundane universe. This oversoul's intermediate energy brings forth the individual souls analogously to the emanated rays of the sun. This book is a treatise of Krishna, so the preamble is enacted by chanting his name in the beginning. Hare Krishna. So I've got a room conversation with Professor François Chénic. This was in 1976 by Srila Prabhupada, conversation with him, whereby Srila Prabhupada quotes Ishvara Paramakrishna. So he said, Ishvara, more or less everyone, but Ishvara Parama, that is Godhead. The Mayavadis, they do not distinguish between one Ishwar to another Ishwar. That may be on ordinary level, but there is Parama Ishwar.
Interesting that point, because we are all sort of controllers. Ishwara means control, right? Many controllers who try to control, have some control over something. But how Prabhupada distinguishes Krishna as Ishwara Parama Krishna. The supreme controller is Krishna. It's very interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
I've got another thing. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is another transcript that Srila Prabhupada was giving a class on the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 20, verse 150 to 154. There also he quotes Ishvara Paramakrishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So that's a nice thing. So we cannot imagine, I quote, we cannot concoct about God. We have to hear from authoritative scripture, authoritative version. Then we will understand. So here is the authoritative version from Brahma Samhita. So very nice point again that Srila Prabhupada is saying that we should have this authoritative scripture and not just think or devise anything, imagine anything about God.
Excellent point. Because we have a tendency that I think this. Well, to be honest, who cares what you think? We care what the scriptures say and the gurus say. and the devotees, the bhaktas say. So this is a very good point. That, this is actually a very good authority in terms of establishing the sort of position of the Lord.
And then this reminds me of Guru Maharaj, who one day scolded me and told me that you should never say, I think.
Interesting, yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Karuna. Beautiful. Well done. Any questions, any comments by anybody? Madhusudan Prabhu, anything you'd like to add?
Sorry, we were late joining. We have been out. So, Karuna Mataji, sorry, we missed your class, but I'll have to listen.
Where you are in detention.
Yeah, well, that was foregone conclusion, wasn't it? Hare Krishna.
Jai Haribol, Hare Krishna, Navi.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it's a wonderful point that Karuna made that, you know, when Maharaj called it, don't I think, you know, and that's what it is all about, you know. I think we should, you know, God is like this. I think God, yeah. But at the same time, when he says Ishvara Parama Krishna and the supreme controller, cause of all causes as well.
Mm.
But when you said also that we are all mini controllers,
Mm.
which is nice to think, but it is a very illusory kind of a control.
Mm.
It's an illusion, you know, because we don't even have a control over how our body is going to turn out 70 years later on. When I was a baby, I never thought I'd be with these aches and pains and here and this and that. So there's no control over my body. I can't control my own, even my own body. I can't even control my own thinking, my mind, you know, it's just
true.
There are times when I just fall asleep like anything. And I thought, oh, what happened there, you know? Because you come to an age. So ultimately, it's an illusion to think that we control anything really. But Krishna allows that illusory concept because that's that's what happens in the material world. You can only pretend to be a little mini controller of this, that, the other, but Krishna ultimately allows us to play that role. But ultimately, when we surrender, that's when Krishna really makes you. Arjuna is totally under control. Then afterwards, once he was out of the illusion. Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you very much. Anil, anything you'd like to ask?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
All good, Prabhuji.
Very good, very good. Thank you.
Everything is. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. No, very good. Okay, if there's no questions or comments, Hare Krishna, Uddhav, very good you joined. We can go to the Nishinga Kavach.